Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to answer two most important questions related to data visualization, which in my experience interacting with thousands of learners, I've seen people don't understand really well. And as a result of this, they end up making mistakes which could be easily avoided. Let's get started and understand what are these two questions. First is, how do we choose the right visualization? So whenever a variable is discussed, people have certain answers. People have some recommendations that we can do this or we can do that, but they don't exactly know what's the science behind it. We're going to make it very clear to you. Second is how many plots or charts to create. So you often get a data which will have multiple columns. People will randomly pick some columns here and there and try to create some plots, but that doesn't necessarily appear to be a logical approach. So it's very important to be clear about what's your scope in terms of how many plots you're going to create. So if you seek answers to these two questions, then continue watching this video till end. And if you've not already subscribed to our channel, please consider doing that right now. You know how regularly we post content on our channel, which is very valuable. Let's get started. First, let's understand the concept of univariate and bivariate. So uni, as the name goes, means one. You could be dealing with one variable at a time. It could be something that you want to visualize only on the x-axis or only on the y-axis. Such plots will be called univariate plots. The other scenario is when you are dealing with two variables together. You have x-axis as well as y-axis. This sounds like pure common sense, but the question is, why is this important? Please understand, we mostly deal with two-dimensional screens. So the visualization that we are going to do would have these two axes at max as the foundation. Today, in the advanced visualization tools like Tableau and Power BI, you have options to add more variables through color, shape, size, and other stuff. But the foundation stays the same. You need to understand the variables very well. How many variables are we talking about when we are going to visualize the data? It is important to remember that the choice of visualization depends on the data type. And what are the possibilities? Let's put this in a structured way so that by the end of this video, it's crystal clear to you. Let's talk about univariate scenario when we're dealing with just one variable. Option one is that we're dealing with a variable which is numerical in nature. And option two is we're dealing with a variable which is categorical in nature. What are some of the examples of numerical variables? These could be variables like age, distance, and income. In general, mostly the measured quantities are called numerical variables. And what could be some examples of categorical variables? Variables like gender, country, grades like ABC. Mostly these represent the data on which arithmetic operations don't make sense. So it would not make sense to add a country with another country and divide it by 2 or something like that. Now that we understand this, let's see what will be the visualization choices for a univariate numerical variable. 3 choices that we talk about. First is, if it's a numerical variable that you're dealing with, you can always do a histogram, very popular chart. You divide your continuous data over certain bins and you put the frequencies on the y-axis. Now, if you're wondering how to create these charts, that's something which we've already covered in a detailed video. I'll put a link in the description. You can watch it later. But before you even get into the technicalities of what the chart is, you should know which are the options available to you depending on the variables. So a histogram is a valid choice. Next would be a density plot. So this is kind of a smooth representation of the probability density function. And third would be a box plot. This indicates a 5-number summary, essentially gives you the minimum value, the maximum value, and the quantiles. This line in the middle represents the median. These are the recommended choices when you're dealing with a univariate numerical variable. What about a categorical variable? 2 choices. You can do a count plot. Now, what is the difference between a histogram and a count plot? In a histogram, the x-axis that you had was representing numbers and you binned it. But in case of a categorical variable, the x-axis represents different categories. For example, here we see different programming languages. This could be some count which shows the literacy of people on different programming languages. So maybe in this data, we see most of the people seem to be knowing, let's say, Java. And if you represent the same data in the form of percentages that it adds up to 100%, that can be achieved through a pie chart. These are the 2 common choices. So we have started with the univariate options. Let's move on to the bivariate analysis. And when it comes to bivariate, in a structured way, once again, there are 3 choices. We're dealing with 2 variables. So it could be that both the variables are numerical, or both the variables are categorical, or one variable is numerical and the other is categorical. And now let's pick each of these one by one and understand what will be the choices. So if both the variables are numerical, then the best choice is a scatter plot. On the x-axis, you have some numbers. On the y-axis, you have some numbers. And you're trying to understand when x increases, is y increasing or decreasing, or it doesn't matter. Notice we can also measure something called as correlation when we're dealing with these two variables. And we can also fit a regression line to this. But the fundamental thing is, this is a scatter plot. What about both variables being categorical? Now, this is something most of the people fail to answer when it's asked in the interviews. So when you're dealing with two categorical variables, just like in this case, we have on the x-axis a variable called group, which has group 1 to group 4. And we have another variable, which is a category, which is, let's say, A, B, or C. So you could be talking about these as grades and these as colleges. So you have 4 groups coming from 4 colleges, and you're looking at the distribution of grade A, B, or C in each college. If you see here, each column adds up to 100%. So here you're able to do a fair comparison between the colleges. If somebody asks you which college has maximum participation in grade A, you can say that it's group 1, followed by group 4, then group 2, and group 3. Likewise, if somebody asks you which college has maximum participation of category B or grade B, you can say that will be group 3. Now, what do you do when you're dealing with one numerical and one categorical variable? These are, again, box plots, but these are called conditional box plots. So let's say, once again, we are back at 3 programming languages, and we are looking at the performance of individuals. Let's say their test scores in each of these programming languages. Why this is bivariate is because on the x-axis, you have a categorical variable, which is the name of the programming language. And on the y-axis, you have the test score, ranges anywhere between 50 to 100. And you also have visibility to something that's known as the outliers here. So now we understand the plotting choices, but how many plots? Before we go there, let's summarize what we've learned so far. When you're dealing with a univariate numerical variable, you have 3 choices: histogram, density plot, or box plot. When you're dealing with a univariate categorical variable, you have 2 choices: a count plot or a pie chart. When you're dealing with bivariate variables and both variables are numerical, you can do a scatter plot. When you're dealing with bivariate scenario, but both variables are categorical, you can do stacked bar chart. And when you're dealing with a bivariate scenario where one variable is numerical and the other is categorical, then you can do a conditional box plot. I've shown you all these plots. If you want to learn it even better as to how to create these plots and how to make them really appealing, you can refer to an existing link here, and do stay tuned to our channel because we'll be posting more content around these topics in future. Let's move to the second question. How many plots or charts to create? Let's first get some data. Now, let's say we have some data which has 10 columns, variable 1 to 9, and then there's a target column. So let's say you're doing this exercise to predict some outcome given certain independent variables. Some explanatory features are given to you, and you're trying to predict a target column. So you have a total of 10 variables. When you have a total of 10 variables, how many univariate visualizations can be done? We can visualize each column independently. Provided we don't have nominal variables like a serial number and all, or the entry number or employee ID, those columns would not make sense. How many bivariate visualizations can we do? Now, bivariate means we are pairing everything with everything. But if we go about doing that, the answer to that is 10 choose 2. If you've studied a topic called combinations, you would understand this is 10 choose 2, which evaluates to 45. But wait a second. Are we going to do 10 plus 45 plots in total, which is 55? That's a shock. Even if you do that, who's going to understand those many plots? Won't it become very monotonous and boring for your audience to go through a sequence of 55 plots? Is there a way out? Can we do something smart here? The answer is yes. So when you're dealing with bivariate scenarios, especially when you're trying to predict something, you can pair everything with the target column. You can pair every independent variable one at a time with the target column. And if we do that, how many visualizations do you think we'll create? We'll just be creating 9 visualizations. Why? Because we are pairing each of the independent variables, variable 1 to variable 9, just with the target column. So variable 1 against the target, that's 1 plot. Variable 2 against the target, so on and so forth. Variable 9 against the target. You have to create 9 bivariate visualizations. Total number of visualizations now reduces to 19, which is nearly 1/3 of what you were getting. And this was just a toy example because I took 10 variables. In real world, when you deal with data sets, you'll not have just 10 variables. And imagine how complicated this would become if the number of variables increase. So you should logically go about visualizing variables one at a time and pair everything with the target. Why does it make sense Let's say this target column that you're predicting was the house price. And this variable here was the number of bedrooms. And this variable here was the locality, some kind of a rating, whether it's a posh locality or not, and things. The question that's being asked by the business to you is, using these variables, can you predict the target, which is the house price? Then in that case, why would you start answering questions like that, if the number of bedrooms are more, the locality is supposed to be posh? Nobody asked that question. The question was, can you use these variables to explain the target? We are unnecessarily doing some research, looking for the relationship between the independent variables and trying to explain that. That's not needed. So pair everything with the target and you're sorted. I hope this video helps you understand two of the top queries related to data visualization. And this is not dependent on any specific tool. This applies to any tool that you use. As long as you're clear on this piece, you're sorted. Thank you.